The following is a Silver Bullion television audiocast. Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vieira. Today we have with us Mr. Kenn Bosak, a 29-year-old entrepreneur and researcher from Kensington, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Since discovering cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Dash, Monero, Steam, Golem in the earliest of stages, he's decided to dedicate his life to capitalizing on the blockchain evolution and sharing his insights, analysis, and cutting-edge ideas which stem from his networking with other investors. He kicked off his career as a writer for the BitcoinPodcast.com and quickly became an interviewer for the network. Ever since, he's been regularly speaking with people like Andreas, Ryan X, Tone Vase, and more. He's famous for his sincerity and unique ability to spot potential threats, such as his warnings of scam sites like BitConnect and BitPetite. He even called the controlled finance exit. Kenn is now a junior research analyst for blockchain tech opportunities and cryptocurrencies ventures for pureblockchainwealth.com, the world's premier financial newsletter for cryptopreneurs, led by one of the early investors of Bitcoin. Kenn recently released a microdoc on his new site Pure Blockchain Wealth. It's reached almost 40,000 views, making the case for cryptos. Kenn, welcome to Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How goes it? Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. I can't wait to talk about cryptocurrencies with somebody who's so interested in, tangible things like gold and silver.
Yeah, we're extremely interested in it. But we do need to learn quite a bit on crypto, so that's why we have you here, and we appreciate you being here, Kenn.
Excited. I love to talk about Bitcoin. It's always on my mind.
Good on. I like that. So, gotta ask you, how did you get started in crypto, and what made you pull the trigger to actually buy your first cryptocurrencies?
Excellent question. So I first got into Bitcoin by stumbling into investing in general. I was about 25 years old. I was starting to think, hey, I should put money away for retirement. That whole mortality thing started to dawn on me. I was like, all right, let me start to look into this. So I started to save up cash, and I realized that having cash in the bank just wasn't cutting it. I had to put it somewhere that would gain more value and compete with everything else in the market. So I was looking at Snapchat actually at the time, and they weren't public yet. So I was like, oh, I could get in on this before they go public and make some money. And I realized very quickly that that was not something I was allowed to enter. I had to be an accredited investor with $1 million or part of a brokerage with a few people that were worth millions of dollars. And I think Snapchat at the time was selling for 15 cents. And when they went public, they went for over $20. And of course they came down, but I was going to be a part of that little pump and dump. It was going to be my first. And being told that I wasn't allowed to be a part of this investment opportunity that I saw made me feel some type of way. So I went and looked for things that wouldn't, cast me aside because I wasn't an accredited investor. And I stumbled into cryptocurrencies. And I saw this thing, Bitcoin, and I read a little bit about the Internet of Money and listened to Andreas Antonopoulos, and it didn't quite click until I stumbled onto Ethereum and listened to a Vitalik speak about the Internet of Things. And then I understood the Internet of Money, where this digital code could be programmed, and it's not just code, it's money, programmable money. So I was like, oh, this makes total sense. And I did get into it originally with the intent to make more fiat, but since then I've been looking at everything at a Satoshi level, which is the smallest increment of Bitcoin is a Satoshi, and I just hold all Bitcoin. So right now I am all in. My entire net worth and portfolio is in cryptocurrencies, and I'm bullish on Bitcoin because of that borderless entry where anybody can enter. You don't have to be an accredited investor to get in on this. You don't have to worry about jumping through hoops, and it's still very early. Bitcoin's up about 600% for the year, but it is down from its all-time high, which creates a decent buying opportunity for this moment.
Right. So Bitcoin is the only crypto you're in, or any others?
Oh, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, Decred. There's a couple actually that are prominent blockchains that I'm long term on, and there's some projects that are up and coming that I'm a little shorter on because they don't have a project yet. They're raising funds to build the projects. So
Mhm.
these are ICOs, initial coin offerings, very similar to IPOs, and that's what I was looking at with Snapchat. How could I give them some money to make their app better, to make my investment worth more? Well, that's sort of what I found with some of these altcoin projects. So there's a few that aren't as prominent that I'm interested in, but that's something that we're still waiting a year or two to see the actual platform be built with the money they've raised.
So, what's the deciding factor for you to actually go into a specific crypto as opposed to another crypto?
Oh, good question. And, for some of the listeners who are serious investors and are seriously interested in cryptocurrencies, you can visit pureblockchainwealth.com/top, and you can download all of our PDFs, the top tier downloadable PDFs. But for me, some of the stuff that I look for, I like to see the team. I like to look at the team, who's the developers, who's marketing, who's the advisors. I like to go into the Slack, the Discord, the Telegram, get into all those chats and actually reach out to the founder or reach out to some of the lead developers and speak to them, see what they're doing, and kind of be like a fly on the wall in those chats and make sure that the project's actually, progressing. And let's see. I like to see if there's actually a use for the coin. I know that sounds very
Yeah.
basic, but a lot of people get way overexcited about coin, where they're gonna monitor every potato on a blockchain into a bag of chips so you can find out what farm your chip came from. I guess you could do that, but I'm not. That's not to me a use case. I like to see things like Wax.io or Social Wallet or Spank Chain. These are multiple platforms that are being used by blockchain technology to make the traditional technology better. So I like to see something that's already using the internet, using blockchain to go farther. I don't want to see something like a potato that's probably never touched the internet be put on the blockchain. So when you're looking at some kind of project, does it really even need a blockchain? It's kind of one of the first things you should look at, and then try to get to know the team, the founders, and investigate maybe some of the past projects. Have they failed or have they succeeded? And have they just been jumping ships? Try to follow the team and what they've been doing.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, Kim, because I think for people who are just getting into crypto, they are actually trying to find what use does a specific coin have for a specific purpose. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. It's something that I think a lot of times we overlook. We just tend to see market cap and how a crypto is moving, and then we tend to jump in to realize we got in at the top, and it starts to go downhill. But
Yeah, there's a lot of Doge coins out there. They're just memes. People like to trade them. They pump, they gain value, but they don't gain utility, and that's where it gets scary.
right. Can I ask you, how do you store your crypto? Because a lot of people, some people hold, some people trade. From your experience, what do you find to be the best way to store your crypto?
Hardware wallet. I got one right here from cryptohwwallet.com, and it's in an awesome leather case right here. This is the Treasure. So I store my crypto offline on this guy right here. I have to plug this in. It's encrypted, and I don't have to worry too much. Even if somebody stole this, it's encrypted. I could back this up and recover it on something. Even as cool as this guy here. This is an open dime. Now, this is like a paper wallet. It's a one-time use physical cryptocurrency wallet where you can load this one up here with Litecoin, and I could give this to you. In order for you to use the funds off of it, you puncture it, which is kind of corrupting it, breaking it, but making it so you can get all the funds off and you know that the private key has been exposed. So these physical hardware wallets are what I use. I don't like to keep any of my crypto on an exchange, period. I don't like to keep my crypto on Coinbase, even though I'll buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. I wouldn't leave it there. And I wouldn't leave it on an exchange, even though I like Binance. Being kicked out of Japan recently and having to,
Right.
partner with Malta overnight kind of sketched me out. So I took my funds off of that exchange as well and put it in my hardware wallet.
Do you think cryptos will become an everyday currency where these are the things we're going to use for our cup of coffee, for our dinner, to pay our rent, let's say?
Absolutely. I mean, anywhere you see a gift card, I see an altcoin. So Starbucks gift card, altcoin. Eventually, it'll be an altcoin so they can track and monitor it on their blockchain. Basically, a gift card is an in-house ledger, right? If I get a Starbucks gift card, they already have my money on their in-house ledger. I go to different Starbucks, they just distribute from that one main in-house ledger to all the other ledgers in their network. The money moves a lot fluider. I gave them, say, $50, and now I can use that gift card at anywhere up to $50. And instead of having, say, 5 or 10 different Visa transactions with 3% fees per transaction, they only had to deal with one, me topping up that Visa card or the gift certificate or whatever they use. I think that they're going to go to the route of cryptocurrencies eventually because they're going to want me to want to earn those cryptocurrencies by going to Starbucks over Dunkin' Donuts. As I earn these cryptocurrencies, maybe I don't like coffee anymore. I could sell these coffee coins to somebody else on an exchange, which is worth more than selling a gift certificate, which is still doable. And you can do that for Bitcoin on multiple websites. I can use ipayu.io to buy Starbucks gift cards with Bitcoin or sell Starbucks gift cards for Bitcoin. So it's already starting to happen, but I think they're going to want to use their own cryptocurrency eventually, like they use their own gift cards. That's what I see, and it just makes sense if you really start to think about it, because it doesn't work the way it's working now. Obviously, they're starting to try these applications like McDonald's. I can order food from my app. Wawa, which is pretty popular, convenience store where I'm at. You can order your coffee and sandwiches from an app and walk in and pick it up later. This is where the stores are trying to, test the waters with technology by building their own applications, getting you to put USD in their app. But it doesn't incentivize you to keep it there, to store it there, and it doesn't create a mini economy within itself where I can trade you Starbucks coins for a favor, or I'll send you a couple Starbucks coins so you can pick up coffee this week. It makes what they're trying to achieve easier, but I feel like they're going the harder way, the hardest way to learn that. But I do see anywhere you see a gift certificate, you'll see an altcoin.
Okay, just to touch a little bit more on that. In Singapore, we don't see that much cryptocurrencies being used or accepted by merchants yet. Not exactly sure why, but how is it in the States? Are merchants accepting of cryptocurrencies now more than they were before?
I do see quite a bit more saying they do accept Bitcoin. I don't know many people that are selling. That's something we've been talking about a lot in this space. It's funny. You are seeing more stores say they accept Bitcoin, but less people spending Bitcoin at those stores. It seems to be the whole Long Island blockchain gimmick on a smaller scale where they're just trying to piggyback on the bandwagon, and it's not a bad idea. There's no reason not to. It is, in my experience, a lot cheaper to accept Bitcoin than it is to accept Visa or MasterCard. So a lot of people don't even accept Visa or MasterCard here. They'll tell you that there's an ATM down the street. You can go get cash. We're a cash-only business because Visa is too expensive for microtransactions. I found Bitcoin can be cheaper, so when I show this to small businesses, their eyes kind of light up and they see 1% per transaction instead of 3 to 5 with American Express. They see the point, they get it. But a lot are selling cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of Bitcoin ATMs popping up.
Right.
There's the point of sale system, libertyx.com, where if you have a brick and mortar business, you can sell Bitcoin for cash. That's been popping up a lot recently. So it is starting to pick up in the sense of we accept Bitcoin, but I think it's a bandwagon thing. Mm-hmm. And we have been seeing a lot more selling Bitcoin, which is like having an ATM in the corner of your store where you make 3% instead of accepting it at the cash register where you lose 3%.
Right, correct. So is it the states starting to go back to using more cash than credit cards?
It seems to be that way, especially since that whole security chip adoption started. It's not fully implemented, so if people right now are just confused and frustrated with credit card technology. Yes. We don't know if we should swipe or insert and pull out or leave in, or it's really back to that whole I don't know what I'm doing phase, and it's creating a confusion. Like in Singapore, do you use WeChat?
China mostly. WeChat is pretty big with China. Singapore, not quite there, not as significantly as China does.
But you know of China and Asian cultures using WeChat
Right.
to transfer value in an app, so they can just send money that way.
Right. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
that's yeah.
yeah, that's pretty interesting because with Singapore, I'd have to say it's definitely heading more towards a cashless economy, and so I guess hearing the contrast of the states where it's actually going back to cash or things like crypto, I find that pretty interesting.
No, it's interesting to see, but that's brick and mortar. Online is a little different, obviously.
Right.
But I would like to see online stores accepting more crypto. They've recently started to announce that they're looking at the transaction fees because Bitcoin's transaction fees have started to come back down. A lot of
Right.
businesses weren't accepting Bitcoin at the time, and they are starting to accept it again.
Right. Uh, Little by little, we've been seeing more government regulation starting to creep in. Uh, your opinion, is there enough regulation, not enough regulation, just right? How do you see it?
Regulation, in my opinion, is it's coddling. It could be dangerous. Some people need it, yes, but most probably should learn the hard way. A little tough love does go longer in the long term. And I feel like right now, regulations on cryptocurrencies is much like putting a do not eat label on a rat poison bottle. It's self-explanatory, enter with caution, buyer beware. But without letting the buyer beware, they don't learn anything, and it's creating this circle of the financial dodo, where people are walking off proverbial ICO cliffs and they're following their friend into this pump and dump. And we want to protect them with regulations. Well, it's not regulations aren't going to help that person, and it's actually going to make it harder for the person that does know better to actually take advantage of this opportunity. Like me, if I had to go and be a accredited investor to invest in my first ICO, we probably wouldn't be speaking today, because I could never have become a accredited investor without the ease of entry into ICOs. I got lucky before these regulations came in, but regulations are security theater. They're not going to protect you from being taken advantage of. They're just going to make it cumbersome to get into these opportunities. And if you really start to think about it, regulations can't be really enforced. They can just be,
Right.
a shadow, a shadow that freaks you out, but it can never touch you. How many times have we seen those commercials back in the 90s? You wouldn't steal from your grandmother's purse. So why are you downloading movies and music without paying for it? And then you see Cher having her car repossessed because we didn't buy her album. We downloaded it illegally. Yeah, they can enforce that. But how many people still to this day and age download movies and music illegally? It's easier. It's actually easier for me to download a movie illegally than it is for me to buy it, because I have to give you this long credit card information, all this address information just to have a digital copy of a movie. It doesn't make sense. So that's where I'm seeing all this head. Regulation isn't going to help anybody except the people that this technology threatens.
Right. Have to agree with you there. What do you say to people who say that cryptocurrencies have no intrinsic value?
I got some Bitcoin right here, pretty tangible, right?
Hmm.
I can put a Bitcoin onto something like this, hand it to you, and you know that it is one Bitcoin. You can check it on the blockchain, and you can see that on the blockchain, this is without a doubt a Bitcoin. It's not forged, not faked, it's not a copy. You have the private key. You can sweep it into your own Bitcoin wallet. If I hand you this as just a piece of gold, you don't know if this is real gold. You don't know what quality of gold it is, the density. You don't know if there's copper in here and it's dipped. You don't know if it's been stolen and it rightfully belongs to somebody else and it can be taken from you because of the serial number on it, can be traced to the original purchaser. Now you're in possession of stolen goods. That's where I see cryptocurrencies versus anything like silver and gold. I know if I got a real Bitcoin when I get a Bitcoin. I don't know if I got a real piece of gold when you hand me a piece of gold. It's a very different peace of mind knowing that you can check something in a second to know if it's real or not, and you don't have to go and be an expert. I don't have to be a gold expert to know if you're giving me fake gold. I don't have to be a Bitcoin expert to know if you're giving me a real Bitcoin. I just check the blockchain. So that's what I would say. It's a difference in man, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just it's just so different it can't be compared. It's not apples to oranges anymore. This is apples to email.
Again, coming from the industry, never really thought about, because I'm on the other end. I know what I'm giving you is real, but from your end, yes, how do you know except for taking my word for it?
And what do I know what it's worth? A lot of people say, hey, what's Bitcoin going to get you in an apocalypse? You know, like, I love that. That is a great argument. You're right. What would it? Nothing. But what will your gold and silver get you without any kind of exchange? You know, you go to your local bread and eggs and, you know, milk guy, and you're like, hey, I got this gold and silver coin. Let me get this, that, and the other thing. And he goes, you need about 8 more of those coins to get what you want. And you're like, no, that's not what I think it's worth. Gold and silver in that same scenario is going to get you just as far as Bitcoin will. In that scenario, I don't think we're going to see a use case for gold and silver as a world currency, even in an apocalyptic scenario. It won't work. It'll be bullets and gunpowder that go back to currencies. I don't think it'll be gold and silver. But when Bitcoin and, you know, cryptocurrencies like Litecoin are being used as everyday currencies, you'll see the difference in being able to, like, you have gold and silver, right? You guys are holding that. There's things like Anthem Gold that are tokenizing these, and they're making it so that I could have a digital coin that represents a couple ounces of gold, send that to you, and you know that you have physical gold in a digital representation. It's on the blockchain. You can send somebody that coin, they'll send you physical gold and silver, and now you can hold it. So you're both holding physical gold in a digital sense and in a physical sense all at once.
Yeah, the point you made in an apocalyptic type of scenario, I'd have to agree, where that is one thing with gold and silver, where the ease of transferring your payment. Let's say if you're going to use some gold or silver to make a payment on something, I'd have to say that cryptocurrencies probably would be an easier way to go ahead and transfer your funds.
Not even that. What if you can't afford to invest, right? That was another thing for me. I couldn't afford to put thousands of dollars into something that I couldn't, you know, liquefy right away if I had to. If I put money into gold and silver and the next day I needed for any reason, an emergency, to cash out and get my rent paid or whatever, it's not that easy. It's really not. I can't find anybody. You know how many people have gold certificates right now and silver certificates? They can't find anybody to give them gold and silver for, let alone fiat. It's weird. And imagine having these and needing to pay your rent and not having a buyer for them. I don't understand the want that people have to store their value in something that they can't get out. It's only putting in. So when you want to get it out, you're kind of screwed. I could put money into Bitcoin, and I can find a way to pay my rent in Bitcoin quite easily. I have a Visa card that I link to my Bitcoin account. I go to a convenience store, I get a money order, bang. But you can't conveniently go to a convenience store with some physical gold and silver to get a money order to pay your rent.
Right. One reason why people do buy gold and silver, they see it as a store of value. They also see it as an insurance, probably more than an investment right now, where if things should happen, that gold and silver is going to store the value of their wealth. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, are they a store of wealth?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so much wealth has been moved into store here, and it's obviously not, I mean, I'm not saying to use it for this, but it is the best money laundering technology tool out there. People use paintings to store value, to launder money all the time. I'll buy a painting for $100,000. I have the collection from the same painter. I'll say that this is now worth $300,000, and I donate that painting, and now I write it off for $200,000 more than I bought it for. That's what people are doing with money. They're going to be doing it like that forever. Cryptocurrency makes it so you can store your value and move it easier than putting it in a painting and trying to sell that at an auction. Bitcoin is what everybody with money wants They're just not aware of it yet. They're using paintings still, Beanie Babies. It's so funny to see that people had no problem buying a $13,000 Princess Diana Beanie Baby, but they can't grasp the concept of a line of code that is right now worth about $7,000 to $8,000.
Right. Last year, Bitcoin did have a very, very good year. We were hearing calls for 50,000, 100,000. Are they still on the radar? Is it still possible?
They are. Yeah. I mean, it is. I spoke with Trace Mayer recently, who said that Bitcoin could even reach $115,000. It may be a little overvalued, but it could. And John McAfee has sworn to eat his what if Bitcoin doesn't reach 6 figures very soon. And these are very bold statements from pretty eccentric people. I get that, but they understand the technology, and they're waiting for people that don't to actually get it. A lot of people just started looking into Bitcoin. Like you said recently, the SEC, CFTC, the G20, everybody for the first time has been publicly speaking about this technology as technology. They're not even calling it a currency. Right now, it is property. So Bitcoin is like real estate, not so much as gold and silver in their mind. It's weird how that's working, because if I hold Bitcoin, I get these little crypto dividends. I wake up one day with Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Private. Just by holding Bitcoin, I'm getting multiple other coins that have intrinsic value that I can cash out for fiat any day. It's interesting to see that this technology moving forward as we talk about it more, but that's what's scaring people right now. The price reached $20,000 before we ever had any word of regulation, before any branch of the government in America ever even publicly spoke about it. Trump has, I think, finally said the word Bitcoin or blockchain once ever, like very recently. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen next. But that all-time high that we hit, that is a glass ceiling that we will shatter through. It's just waiting for the people that are dipping their toes in, that currently have $100,000 or $1 million to put into crypto. We've only been seeing the people that are living in their mom's basements, and those guys, very close friends, putting money in right now. Wait till we see money going into Ethereum from Microsoft, or Google's Alphabet Inc. just announced that they have 2 blockchain projects being designed. It's not something that's going to go away. Poloniex was just acquired by Circle, which is oversold by Goldman Sachs for $400 million. That's not chump change. I mean, it is to them, but in general, $400 million to spend on something that's at the peak of a bubble, I doubt it. I think that Goldman Sachs knows what's going on. They're putting themselves in a position. Even Yahoo has announced that they're going to be working on a cryptocurrency exchange in Japan. This is the future. It's inevitable. It's like talking about that first website that was made. Did you hear that Toys R Us has a website? ToysRUs.com. Everyone freaked out that you could look at toys on the internet. Like, why not just go to the store? I don't understand the use for this. Next thing you know, you're ordering toys from the internet and you're never going to a store again. I can't see a use for this technology, and then a couple years later, I can't see me living without it.
Ken, what are you going to do when the day does come that the United States government, or all governments all over the world, have their own cryptocurrency that we are all, let's say, going to have to use one day?
We don't have to. They're going to try to make us, but we don't have to, right? Starting with Venezuela, with the Petro coin right now that's backed by gold they don't even have. It's interesting. I'm definitely watching and keeping a close eye on that in Venezuela to see how that turns out. And even recently, Pablo Escobar's brother, Roberto Escobar, announced that they're launching their own cryptocurrency. So there's nothing stopping any government from launching their own cryptocurrency. But there's also nothing stopping me from saying, I don't want to use it. I'm not using the US dollar right now. I'm storing my value in Bitcoin. As a store of value, I choose Bitcoin. I don't have to choose this federal fiat coin or whatever they're going to call it. I don't have to. They may say I do in regulation, in law, in everything else. They may have it written down somewhere, even on a sign. But a sign can't make me store my value in that coin. Right. I can still choose to opt out and store it somewhere else. So I'm interested to see, but I think that's going to be the Trojan horse of blockchain technology, where the government says, hey, you have to use this new thing. It's a digital currency. We use online banking, and everybody in America has to learn about this digital currency stuff, and there's no physical paper money and all this. And then they learn about decentralized currencies and the importance of deflationary currency instead of inflationary currency, where the supply is fixed and not, manipulable. And then they're like, whoa, well, wait, why are we using this coin that is constantly being created every other day? There's more and more of these coins being created. Or we could use this coin where it's decentralized and there's only so many of them, where if we store our value here, we don't have to worry about them printing more and more to decrease our value over time. So I think that it would be a great Trojan horse story to see the U.S. government or any government, first world government, say, here's a cryptocurrency or a digital currency, you have to use it, we're getting rid of paper. And then a couple years later, people realize that centralized currency isn't as valuable as a store of value as a decentralized currency that has a limited supply. So I definitely see them going that route. There's absolutely no reason they won't. It doesn't make sense not to experiment and try, but it would be a last-ditch effort, like the Blockbuster streaming service that never took off.
Yeah. Would you say the bank's days are numbered?
Yeah, banks know that they're numbered. I mean, 0.01% interest has nobody's interest. Nobody's interested in that bank account, and it's only going to keep getting worse. And as people learn that you're asking for permission from 9 to 5 to get your own money, after 5 p.m. you can't even get more than, I think, $300 or $400 out of an ATM. For any reason at all, you need $1,000 at 6 p.m. You're out of luck. Why would you do that to yourself? You're giving up so much for security theater. There's really not much security happening there. Somebody could easily come and steal your wallet out of your back pocket and take your credit card and take money out of the ATM. And now you have to, for weeks, prove that you didn't buy that big screen TV in Arizona, even though you live in New York City. It's still security theater. You could have your cash under your mattress. Most people probably wouldn't even look there anymore. Your money's probably safer under your mattress nowadays rather than in your wallet or on a bank card, especially considering that we just bailed them out and I don't know how far we are from another handout.
Yeah.
Be careful when you're dealing with we're $20 trillion in debt as a nation. That's a scary number. It's like so scary. Nobody wants to talk about it because it's ridiculous. And now we want to keep putting our money into, you want to store your value there, good luck. You want to keep putting your money in a bank account, it's good luck. It's a piggy bank with holes in it, and everybody can see it. I think that we're going to end up seeing the banks maybe go in the route of cold storage, like what you're looking to do with your clients. I think that banks may be trying to say, hey, we will insure your crypto holdings up to this amount, and it'll be on cold storage. So between 9 to 5, you'll have to come in and do encryption and KYC to get your crypto out, and it may take 3 days to release and all this stuff because that's how banks roll. But that may be their only use, is some kind of a physical cold storage, crypto bomb shelter.
Right. I think one thing you and I have in common, if it's true, I heard you don't have a bank account, because I'm the same.
No, actually, I'm looking at checking out with uphold.com to see if I can get direct deposit into their account so I can get paid directly in Dash, because I'm a big fan.
I believe you had solved problems with BitConnect early on.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, it was very obvious that was going to be a problem because I saw these regulations coming. Even if BitConnect didn't want to exit, and even if BitConnect was legitimate, they would have been escorted out, as we saw the 2 subpoenas for their cease and desist, I should have said, to cease all actions of their securities trading. And they even subpoenaed some of the higher promoters of this. I saw that coming the moment they said 40% a month, no risk. You cannot speak like that. You're not allowed to say things like that. You can't say you can invest in this and you will make 40% a month, no risk. That's a red flag. That is it's not even feasible. You can't do it. Obviously, it didn't work. But the reason I saw it coming from a mile away was that eventually we will see these regulations, and even if it was 2, 3, 5 years from now, it will be kicked out, and they're going to leave before that. And the 40% a month was a red flag. The downline had, I think, 11 or 9 original levels. So you get a downline from 9 people invested down. That was insane. I don't know how that worked financially. The amount of money that they were sprinkling down the downline. Eventually, they started cutting that out. And as I saw the levels get taken out, they went from like 9 or 7 to 5 to 3 levels, and then eventually they exited. And I thought it was pretty funny when they said that they were going to have an event in Thailand for anybody that invested. I think it was like $100,000 in one shot. They'll take care of you at this event in Thailand. And I was telling people, be careful. And a lot of people didn't understand what they were doing with the BitConnect scam. They were just saying, hey, I'm making money, but you're losing Bitcoin. I made a video on BitConnect where I invested in it to track my losses, actually. And I invested zero point 0.2 Bitcoin. And I lost, at the time of the video I made, I think about $3,000 because I didn't hold Bitcoin. If I would have just held the zero point 0.2 Bitcoin, I would have had $3,000 more than I did investing 0.2 Bitcoin in a platform that guaranteed me 40% a month. I lost a lot of money doing a lot of work instead of just doing nothing, making way more. And nobody really caught on to it until it did disappear. But that's that whole, the FOMO. I can't miss out on this opportunity. I already missed out on Bitcoin, and people were thinking BitConnect was Bitcoin because of how early we are to this. And then when it did exit, I think it did more damage than people give it credit for. A lot of the money that was scared out of the industry that's no longer coming in, and the downward, the ripple effect of that, it's still unmeasurable. I think we'll be hearing about this for years to come. When you think about the people how much money they lost, we had people that already had Lambos buying into BitConnect. We're still trying to buy Lambos getting into Bitcoin. So we overshot with BitConnect, the industry as a whole. And now it has to regroup after something like that. And a lot of people don't understand, when you give somebody your private keys, you're giving away your money. You have no access to it. They can take off. They can say they were hacked and your money was stolen if they're an exchange, and they could try to, have a scapegoat of some sort, which most of the time I believe it is a scapegoat, and a lot of these exploits are in-house. So I don't trust many in-house exchanges when they say they were hacked. I think that they just kind of wanted to go out and buy their own Lambos, and they had a great scapegoat. Hey, we were hacked. Sorry, $500 million gone.
What other, as you call it, red flags? What should we be looking for? What's generally a tip-off that something's not right?
All right. Well, again, we do on pureblockchainwealth.com. We have a channel there, pureblockchainwealth.com/danger, and you guys can get all those articles and PDFs and information and the dangers of crypto. But some of the red flags to me that I try to look out for are things that, again, have no use being in a blockchain currency, or the founder is not from the industry they're trying to move into. So if you have no experience in healthcare and you used to be a used car salesman, but your ICO is for putting your healthcare on the blockchain, I'm going to take that as a red flag. And if people are sending me personally, an email offering me 5 Bitcoin to promote their ICO, it's a red flag. I usually tell people, hey, these guys are out there just throwing away their investors' money. This isn't their money. This is their investors' money that they're offering, people like me or other, marketers. So I try to look at YouTubers and see what YouTuber is talking about what project, because they most likely got paid for it. And if it doesn't seem to be an original, unique review, I kind of consider that a red flag. I try to follow certain YouTubers, and if they're talking about something, it's like an auto red flag to me. And if you can't find the team, if they have a white paper and they're saying that Vitalik is a advisor and he has never mentioned it, or they have partnerships with all these companies and nobody's even tweeted about it from the company, red flag. Right. There's a lot. I mean, there's more dangers in this space than not. Right now, it's maybe not considered the the wild west anymore. Maybe it's just simply the Wild West. We have some sheriffs walking around. They're going to try to keep you safe, but you're going to step on a rattlesnake or two, and that's an ICO. You can't shelter yourself from the world. Get out there, walk around, step on a rattlesnake, get hurt, get scarred up, get tougher, learn from it. But if you don't find your own red flags, if you're looking at something and it looks to be completely great, like you can't find anything wrong with it, reach out to a friend that's in this space and ask them to find something wrong with it. You have to have that positive and negative combination. You can't suck yourself into something and be your own yes man, because you'll kind of get pinched on that financially. You'll fall in love with a project because of the problem they'll solve. You'll fall in love with it because you read something and you perceived it in some way. But you have to find that negative friend in the group that's going to say, hey, their mining algorithm is going to make it cost ineffective in a couple of years. You're not looking at 3 years from now when it's going to go up about 1,000% to make this blockchain, cost effective. Even if they wanted to, it's going to be 3 terabytes long. After a couple years, their blockchain will be so big it can't be held on anything. A lot of people just look at green and red charts and they just want to throw money at stuff.
Right.
You have to look at the technology, guys. And if you're only looking at the potential on the charts and you're not looking at the potential in the tech, you're going to get burnt.
Right. Well, in that case, you're going to be a lot of people's new friend.
I do a lot of meetups. They do this already. I love to talk about Bitcoin, and a lot of the things people seem to think is I'm living in a sunshine and rainbows land where crypto's perfect, and I know it's not. I'm a beta user. I'm early to a technology that isn't ready for the mainstream, and I'm using the first iPhone before it's public. And there's a lot of bugs, and things go wrong. And every time I try to send an email, it just disappears, and I have to read. It's so annoying. That's Bitcoin right now. It's really annoying early technology, and I am inconveniencing myself using it. It really is an inconvenience right now, but when the internet was 56K, we all weren't using it. Nobody was using 56K. We have fiber optic speeds now. We're all over 50 megabytes, and we're living the life on the internet. When Bitcoin gets that fiber optic speed boost, when Lightning Network gets, put on the main net and fully used, we'll be seeing these transactions take place in ways people can't even comprehend. And I know I said the Lightning Network, and that probably went over everybody's head. But if you are interested in this and you really want to learn more, you can learn more at pureblockchainwealth.com/top, where you can get all those PDFs and download them and learn more about this technology.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you mentioned Lightning. One of the knocks on Bitcoin was that it's a bit slow, and then Bitcash came out, and but we're seeing things like Lightning. We're seeing things like Hashgraph that are coming out. What would you say would be the difference between Hashgraph and Lightning?
I don't want to talk too much about Hashgraph because I haven't, but Lightning is something that I've been looking towards and looking into a little bit more. To me, I can explain Lightning a little bit. I'll dumb it down. To me, it's more of a bar tab, an open bar tab. When you go to the bar, you give them your Visa. You say, hey, I got a $200 tab. Let me know when I hit my limit. They take your Visa. They swipe it one time, and that's it. The tab is now open. So to create a Lightning channel, all you have to do is do one transaction fee to create the channel, and we can put money in that channel and move it between ourselves. So at the bar, I say, hey, I need a couple shots, a couple beers. Now, 10 transactions took place. I said to the bartender I needed a drink 10 different times. I got my tab. I closed my tab. There was only one transaction fee. They didn't have to pay Visa 3% on 5 or 10 different transactions, just that one to close it. And even if I leave the bar and forget to close my tab, which is kind of a jerk move, don't do that. Make sure you tip your bartenders. But if you do leave the bar, they can close your tab for you. They just close the tab and they get their money. Same thing with the Lightning channel. A lot of people believe that you have to agree to close the channel. Only one person has to agree for the last transaction to take place. And then after that, the funds are sent to the end channels. So when you open a Lightning channel, it's going to be so I can interact with the bar or with my grocery store multiple times a day, a week, a month, or a year even without having to close the channel and only having two transaction fees. One transaction fee to open the channel, another transaction fee to close the channel. And the more channels we have, we'll be able to send money through. So if I say visit Singapore, and you have a Lightning channel open with a local bar, and I have a Lightning channel open with you, I can actually send the bar some Bitcoin using the Lightning channel that we have because you have one with them. So it goes right through and it lands into their Lightning channel. So when I close my channel with you and them, or with them to you, everybody gets their funds. You don't have to worry about it being locked up in the air. A lot of people have that fear that if you're using Lightning that it's going to be this honeypot effect. And that is true to a very, very small sense. But right now, you would have to spend billions of dollars to attack Bitcoin just to get a couple $100,000 out of it.
Right. Currently, I believe Bitcoin's at about 7,000 USD right now. Good entry point?
Oh, yes. I mean, if it were to go down any lower, I don't see how much lower it can go, honestly. The amount of people that have gotten into the industry since Bitcoin broke 10,000 is in the six figures. We had Coinbase announce hundreds of thousands of new wallets being open after Bitcoin broke 10,000. So right now, for the first time ever, people are seeing this as a buying opportunity. They're just skeptical because also at the same time you have a buying opportunity, you have governments talking about regulation, and
Right.
your skepticism kind of sets in. So you're hit with FOMO and FUD at the same time. And it's like this FOMO FUD tornado effect, and nobody knows how to handle it. And I think people need to stop trying to short Bitcoin. It's definitely going to be too dangerous right now. Coinbase has announced recently that they're going to be opening doors for $1 million contracts. What it was called, Coinbase Custody. Coinbase Custody,
Wow.
where you'll be able to sign up for $100,000 to start investing in Bitcoin or Ethereum and Litecoin with a minimum investment of $1 million. These haven't been utilized yet. We haven't seen any institutional capital start to come in yet. It's all been, nerds and nerds' friends and nerds' friends all buying Bitcoin right now. But wait until you see the institutions like Harvard, Yale, anybody that's doing retirement pension plans, they're all going to be putting 3 to 5% of that in crypto. We don't even have that yet. Wait until we even get those the alternative currency traders, the people who trade euro, yen, peso for a living. Wait until we get a 3% of those guys trading cryptocurrencies. There's not enough. It's Bitcoin's very limited in supply, and you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. So even if Bitcoin is $7,500, you can still put in $20, and if Bitcoin goes up 100%, your $20 went up 100%.
I read 1,000 people own 40% of the Bitcoin right now. Does that sound about right to you?
Something like that, maybe, but that's better than 1% owning all of the currency in the world, especially when it comes to the US dollar. But
Right.
yeah, the amount of people that own Bitcoin, I don't think that worries me at all, but it may be around that number. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, but I don't think that matters. It really doesn't matter. Bitcoin is, for the first time in history, the only thing that is completely worthless if you're the only one that has it all. It's the only thing that gains more value the more people that have it. So if you're hoarding Bitcoin and not giving it to a friend or a friend of a friend, it's not helping you any. So it doesn't help those 40% to hold all the Bitcoin and be the only ones with Bitcoin. It kind of incentivizes them, if anything, to give some of it away to make the less of it they have worth more. So you could have all the Bitcoin, or you could have some of it, and it would be worth way more than having all of it.
Getting back to the institutions, do you think they're also going to go into altcoins, or more specifically just Bitcoin?
I think security tokens are going to be big. I really do. I think this is going to be a big year for security tokens and tokenizing securities. I think that's where they're going to go. I don't think they're going to look at random altcoins. As far as when you say altcoin, I think of an alternative currency, something that's competing with Bitcoin as a
Right.
digital cash. Altcoin, in the sense that I'm thinking, is more like that Anthem Gold project where the gold is backed by a digital, token, or where I can. Mark Cuban recently just announced in New York City they will be taking a prestigious hotel. They haven't announced which one yet. They'll be taking a prestigious hotel in New York City and tokenizing it. Tokenizing a hotel. Yes, exactly.
Wait a minute. I
I
thought Cuban
don't
didn't
know
like
how it's going.
cryptocurrencies.
Neither did Jamie Dimon.
Yeah. Okay.
These are the people that are coming around. These are the people that are coming around.
Now that's pretty interesting. So I guess what would you tell a person who's been buying up gold and silver for the longest of time? What would you tell them to shed some light on cryptocurrency and for them to open up and realize that there is another asset class that they should be getting into?
Okay. Who's buying it off of you? Who's buying your gold and silver? And what younger crowds are getting into it? Do you see anybody new coming into your industry where, the younger crowd, the millennials are saying, I can't wait to buy some gold and silver?
Wait, but
Are they saying that?
actually, what happened was we've been seeing guys who are currently in the crypto space. As Bitcoin was going down last year, they actually sought some shelter in gold and silver. They parked in gold and silver for a while because they figured out it's very easy to slide back and forth between cryptocurrency and gold and silver. So they actually found some safe harbor, and they used their gains to pick up a store of wealth. But I understand what you're saying, though. Generally, right, I don't see a first time 20-year-old guy coming in and says, I'd like to buy some gold today. He's
Mm-hmm.
probably looking more at crypto.
No, exactly. And, it's not just the younger crowd, even the older crowd are starting to look at crypto. So that
Right.
means they're spending more time and attention in this new industry and less time and attention in that old one where they're coming from. If you're watching this video right now and you're a gold bug or a silver bug, guess what? You're exactly who I'm talking about. You who are listening right now, you even lost interest in that thing that you used to love so much. So you're already taking that step forward. You're the guy who used to fix horse and buggies, and you're finally starting to look at transmissions and engine blocks. I dig it. It's scary, it's freaky, and it could be a potential huge waste of your time. But that offset chance, now you were saying people went from crypto to gold as kind of a safe haven, right? Because it was more stable. I don't see gold as an investment opportunity. I see gold as somewhere to kind of store my value for, a safer volatility. But Bitcoin is an investment opportunity
Right.
because it is still in progress. It is not a end result. People already know what gold's used for. They know what they're going to do with it. They know gold's bubble has already been popped. Gold's not going to find a new use case tomorrow. We're not going to wake up one day and be like, we need gold for this. We never knew we needed gold for it. Now gold has found a new use case and a new utility. Not happening. But we find every day a new use case and a new reason to use blockchain technology. We're not going to see that with these gold, silver, any of these other options. That might be a safer place to store your money. Absolutely. But will you make the potential same return? Absolutely not. The risk
Right.
that
I'd
you're
have to
taking
agree.
in crypto is insanely high, but so is the reward.
Right. Mr. Kenn Bosak, I appreciate your time. I'm certain that you've helped a lot of the viewers here, including myself. I'd like to thank you, and I do appreciate your time in helping us with these things. Again, can you let us know how to reach out to our new friend and get some more info or get some more 411?
Yes, I love talking about Bitcoin. So if you or anybody listening needs any information, you can find me at Kenn Bosak or Kenneth Bosak on Twitter. You can reach out to pureblockchainwealth.com. You can sign up for the free newsletter to get information there. Don't forget, if you're a serious investor and you're seriously interested in cryptocurrencies, just go ahead and visit pureblockchainwealth.com/top, and you can download all the top PDFs and check out our information there. We did get the award in 2017 for the best free newsletter in the industry, so it's probably worth a couple minutes of your time to check out. And I would love to see your feedback in the comments below of this video, just to see what you guys think of Pure Blockchain Wealth.
All right, Ken. Again, we thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing more on what's going to happen with Oh, wait, one more question on Bitcoin. How do you see it doing this year, along with let's say your top three cryptos? What are you gonna pick for this year? Your top three cryptos.
So besides Bitcoin being my number one pick, of course, I do have another three, and they're kind of all tattooed on me. I have Litecoin. I have my Dash right here. And I think in 2018, we're going to have a lot more talks about staking. So I've been a lot, investment in Decred. So I've invested in Decred. And I think that their proof of stake, proof of work hybrid concept is something to take a look at. Proof of work is interesting, and proof of stake is just as interesting. Bitcoin is proof of work. Proof of stake is a little different, might go over some people's heads, but if you're interested, definitely look into those concepts and see why Decred is important.
Kenn Bosak, again, thank you. We appreciate your time, and hope to do this again soon with you, and we definitely are going to follow your work. Thank you very much, Ken. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Have a day.